We are surrounded by serialized art, from a film series with 7 sequels to a book series with 20 entries, from a television show where zombies tear people limb from limb to a band or musical artist 3-concept album arc. The possibilities are endless. Thus, this is something serial.
So much has happened. It's hard to remember everything. So by the time this comes out, who knows what the fuck has happened.
And that's why we don't talk about politics. We're talking about Fat Man and Blobbin.
Well, technically Batman. I got it right here. Boop, boop,
Oh,
boop, boop.
nice. Hey, fun. I'm still not done showing people. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Carrot Podcast. And you can only see this if you're on Zoom or
well, we're on Zoom.
YouTube, whatever.
Yeah.
Shut up. Look at that thing. Whoa. I'm jealous of it, and I have it. It's a TV. I never make any big purchases, as some listeners may attest, and or co-hosts.
I do know that, yeah.
I'm a very frugal person, and I just said I don't care anymore. I'm almost 30. I want a fucking awesome TV. I watch so much TV, and I can now have a reason to rewatch all of the Batman movies, which I already rewatched recently for this very podcast.
Are you rewatching them again on your big TV?
I genuinely am going to. I haven't yet.
So can I talk? So I watched a movie today. I watched 2. I watched one. Well, so this is coming out way after the events of what's happening. So by the time this actually airs, my hair will be much longer. So this comes out in October.
Oh, okay.
So
I see.
But I watched Cuties, so I have to review that with Mike Logan for our podcast. The controversy is fucking overblown for sure. I mean, that was a good movie.
Yeah, I kind of was wondering if it was. I still don't really want to see it myself just because I have so many other things to watch. I guess.
there's no need for us to see it because we don't have children. I mean, I think it's a movie that's geared for parents that won't be there for their children when they have questions, so they end up turning to TikTok or just any social media that gives you validation via likes. Mm-hmm. It's basically about that, and the type of rabbit hole that a person who's growing up in a very serve the man, serve the husband type of religion, it is like it's a sexually repressive thing. So then you double down on what it's a very interesting film that's juggling a lot of things. And the controversy is the fact that the controversy comes out of what this movie's actually about is actually exactly what the movie is addressing. Like, if you put aside your QAnon conspiracies for 2 seconds and watch the movie, you'd be like, oh, the movie's about what I'm saying. It's fucking mind-blowing. It blows my fucking mind.
Wow, kids shouldn't be doing this. This is awful.
Yeah, and the movie's like, yeah, we know.
No.
So, I don't know.
It's funny. It's really funny. I mean, it's not funny. It's also one of those things where, like,
it's depressing because the main girl could have gotten a fucking Oscar nomination for best foreign performance. Is that a thing?
They do. I mean, no, but they do best actress and actor in foreign languages. Like Marion Cotillard won for La Bien Rose.
Ah, yeah.
And that was fully French language.
Yeah, she was really good. So.
Oh, did you see that movie? I never saw it.
No, I did not.
I wanted to, but I did not see it. But she did do a great job in The Dark Knight Rises.
Hold on, let me do her death scene. This is for the people on YouTube.
Yeah.
My father's will is done.
My father's work is done.
It's like I was watching an acting coach analyzing deaths in movies, and then one of them was that, and he's like, I mean, she's a great actress, but it's like she couldn't pick a decision. She wanted to die this way or this way or this way with eyes open, last breath, and it was just an amalgamation, and if that's the best take, something went wrong on set. I'm like, yeah, that whole movie was wrong on set.
Yeah, it's funny. I think, and I have to watch it again, but I think that is the worst Batman movie of modern day Batman from like 1989 through present day. Truly.
Batman
and Robin is watchable and it's shorter.
Yeah. I actually might be with you on that based on having watched Batman today, because that's the other movie that I watched.
Like Batman's way better than Dark Knight Rises.
It is. I can't wait to talk about it because I think I have some issues with it.
Ooh,
and
great.
I feel weird having these thoughts about a movie that's like everyone fucking loves this movie.
Plus, it's like 30 years old.
It is, but there's also movies that are older that people shit on that I think are better. Can't think of an example, but you know it's true.
Okay, interesting. Well, I mean, lay it on me. I'm curious because you watched it more recently than I have, even though I wanted to talk about it, if that makes sense. So
yeah,
I'm definitely curious.
So what we talked about last week was your thoughts on it.
It was like the set direction, art direction, some of like the visual elements. And everyone like loved it, but it was kind of, it existed in its own realm where it was okay for everything to look sort of like a matte painting.
Yeah.
Or like a studio lot back set.
I wanted to say this. Is this a low budget film? Was Batman a low budget film?
No, it was not.
That blows my mind because it looks so low budget. Like, just watching it again, it looks incredibly low budget.
It's interesting you say that.
Especially the special effects. Now, I know it's 1989. However, the Indiana Jones movies had come out before that. And computers were starting to be used, but this movie wasn't really, I don't think, using computers. I think it was more of like a...
It's pretty traditionally like in-camera type stuff.
Superimposed, like, you know, cutting things out, and then but Star Wars did the same thing, and that looked better. So, and there also wasn't any painting out of certain aspects, like wires.
I didn't notice that, actually.
There's a part where Batman, it's just, Joker had just done the painting in the what was it, the Flugenheim? Not the Guggenheim, but the
he has like a museum/restaurant, which was kind of weird in
makes
retrospect.
no fucking
but that's
sense.
Fine.
But yeah, so he paints in there, or whatever, and Batman breaks in through the glass in the ceiling, and you can totally see the wire lowering him down for too long. Like, it's almost embarrassing. But
unless he did use a wire as Batman to make a grand entrance.
Because there's other parts in the movie where he's just kind of floating down and there's no wire. Which is interesting because the first time that you see him, you were right, there is like a stop motion.
Yeah, it's animated. It's got to be like an animated black thing.
Yeah. And I don't, like, why? Like, some of the directing choices in this film don't make sense to me because, I mean, Tim Burton had done 2 movies up to this point, you said?
Yeah. 2 like majorly released movies.
Yes. So, this one's the 3rd. It's a bigger budget for sure. But
yeah, I mean, Warner Brothers had him do Beetlejuice first to see if he could handle a type of like effects movie.
Yeah, and the effects. I'm trying to think of other things.
Well, is this the one also? I know kind of what you mean about that wire situation. It's almost like it's a given that in this universe you're allowed to do stuff like that and not think about it too much because it's like a Batman movie. It's like they're trying to establish the rules early that like, oh, this is kind of what it is. Because there's one moment, and I don't know if it's in Batman or if it's in one of the other ones, but Bruce Wayne has his cape spread out, and he literally has grips like almost like a baton, like a police baton. Like he's holding onto joysticks so that he can like lower his cape down.
Yeah.
I don't know which one it is, but it's weird because it's like you can see it so obviously. Like you can see even like the rods in the cape as he is pulling it down.
That could be that might be intentional, dude. I didn't know this.
But why? Because where does that go?
I mean, it could just be, let's put it into the costume to make it seem like it's intentional, but it's actually how to control the apparatus. Because I didn't know this, but in the movie Platoon, you remember when Willem Dafoe is running and getting shot?
Yep.
He's literally holding the apparatus to make the squibs go off. You can see the wiring all up and down his arm into the vest. And I had no idea until today that was a true thing. And never would have noticed it unless it was pointed out to me. So I think that it's the same thing with the baton thing or whatever.
Does that mean it's the same thing with the wire then, as he's descending into the museum?
I don't think so, because it's so clearly he's being lowered down by a wire. So I don't know, maybe it's intentional, but I point to other times in the movie where he doesn't have a wire lowering him down.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's the first time that you see him is the stop motion, and then the next time is those two guys talking about how, like, you know, the bat is out.
Right, the bat.
Oh, come on with that. Come on, it's no bat. Just fucking gross heroin junkies, whatever they're.
Give me a break.
Oh, give me a break with that. His mouth is just moving too much.
The bat? Oh man, give me a break, will you?
5 stories straight down. There wasn't no blood in the body.
No shit. It was all over the pavement.
But then the other guy says that, one guy was thrown off a building and then no blood left in his body. And he's like, that's because it was all plastered all over the ground. Batman killed him. So Batman kills.
Well, to be fair, that was only a rumor. It's an unsubstantiated story because obviously he's not going to be found with no blood in his body.
Yeah. Well, how about the scene at the end when the bell tower where the one guy hits his head on the bell, which was not supposed to be there, and then he falls to his death in the bell tower.
Oh yeah, I mean
so
he
totally
does
killed him. Yeah,
he does. He does.
So that's
I guess I mean, like, based on that story, it's not really proof. But yes, there are moments of proof where he does definitely straight up kill people.
So that framing is like those two guys on the ground in front, and then in the background you see Batman like lowering down with the wings, and he has no wire. There's no wire lowering him down. So
it's weird. Like, I wonder what. I think it's more about the visual. I don't think they were focused on like the gadgetry as much.
Yeah,
like so they're just trying to show like a cool scene of him lowering in the smoke and his wings folding because it's like visually pleasing.
So then later they say fuck it, let's put him on a wire.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the scene itself looks cool. Like he's coming in and saving the day. So, I mean, I don't know. You know, it's weird. They have this weird internal logic where sometimes he has a wire and it's okay to show. Sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he has rods in his cape to make it easier to control, and sometimes he doesn't. And it kind of changes in that exact scene also.
Well, there's also continuity errors where in the when they are doing the painting, like painting over the paintings, the one guy does the hands on the painting and then smears the face, and then it cuts and literally shows that exact painting without all of that for multiple seconds. And then it's like that's such a like editing thing that is
so noticeable.
It's so noticeable that it's like was it intentional? Yeah, it's like how do you let that in? So whoever the editor, let me look it up, but it's...
You can. While you're doing that, I just want to say I wonder to what extent you're allowed to forgive movies for stuff like that. Like
Ray Lovejoy.
That doesn't... I mean, Reverend Lovejoy kind of gave up on his faith in God in The Simpsons.
That's
so
true.
I don't know if there's like a correlation there. Maybe Simpsons writers watched Batman and were like, this guy clearly gave up on his dreams.
Yeah.
Let's just name the pastor after him.
It's so strange. Anyway.
Well, I was just going to say, there are so many moments of like an editing mistake in a great movie. And I just wonder how much that affects the overall, its overall place in the hierarchy of pop culture-ness.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's... Obviously, people aren't affected by it as much as me, and obviously movies, when they first came out, were only for theaters, and then, VHS came out, DVD came out, Laserdisc, all that stuff.
You can,
so people
endlessly
were able...
peruse these things.
Yeah, so I understand that there's that, but it's something that... It's so obvious. Like, it's like I have edited shit and you have edited shit, and we've realized, like, while editing, oh, there's a mistake there, I should probably fix this somehow. Or there's something that you just don't see, and then no one else will pick up on because it's something that's so easy to miss,
right? But maybe this counts as that to some.
It doesn't. It's
any of the population watching this.
Literally, I guarantee that people in the cinema were watching it, going, "Didn't he just paint?" like the movie fucking highlights.
Him slapping the painting with his hands.
Like, to the beat of the song, and then the next fucking shot is him like, oh, there's the painting I didn't touch yet. And you're like, no, you just did. It's right there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like one of the most glaring goofs in cinema, I would say.
How would you compare that to Jack Nicholson in The Departed, where he has the cigarette in his mouth and it's an over-the-shoulder shot from behind, and you see the cigarette dangling out of his mouth, and then the very next shot, it's him walking into frame and the cigarette is just gone from his mouth.
That one is different because you're focusing on what he's saying. That one you would pick up on multiple times later seeing it. This part is so fucking ridiculous because the key part of this scene is them destroying all these paintings, and they're showing you how they're destroying them, and there's a close-up of a goon destroying a painting, and then it cuts, and then that goon has not destroyed that painting. Like, it's bananas, man.
Jesus, that's so funny. I just love it.
That's like if you're watching a porno and the guy comes on the girl's belly, and then the next scene is she's just like
not
getting fucked in the ass. You're like, that's not possible. I mean, did you hire a stunt cock? What's happening? This is crazy. And then Prince is in the background.
That's one of the weird things too. And I want to like this. So in Shaun of the Dead, when they're looking through the records to throw at the zombies, they throw the Prince Batman
soundtrack
record. Yeah, and the movie itself, like, it's so weird because I don't know how to put this. There's so much. Prince and Batman don't mix.
No, not at all.
And they don't. And Prince was popular at the time. I can understand trying to fit a popular artist into a movie. And in some ways, in some weird ways, it works because of what they're stretching it so hard to fit Prince in, like with the Joker doing his dance moves and
he literally says
beatbox.
He literally says Prince, and then they hit the beatbox. Yeah, it's just like
wrong, gentlemen. Let's broaden our minds, Lawrence.
So he's acknowledging that Prince exists in this universe,
right?
Wrong!
Which is so clearly based on like 1930s and 40s film noir. Which is, so it's an odd mixture, and I want to like it so much because I like Batman and I like Prince. But
I am willing to bet that this movie, I'm not going to say it's shit. I will say that right now. I'm not going to say it's shit. But I think this movie suffers from studio interference a lot. Mm-hmm. And Warner Brothers was the Warner Brothers had full control over Prince. like, I won't say that, full control over his releasing and his licenses and stuff like that. So he was embattled in a thing. He wanted to get out of his contract so he could have the master recordings of all of his stuff. That was a big thing. But Warner Brothers was his record label. And I know from comedians that they are still garbage shit today. Like, Warner Brothers is awful with licenses and all that stuff and contracts.
Yeah, pretty much all major music studios are.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised, because there are so many things in this movie that I'm like, oh, that was cool, that's iconic, that was good. And then there's something else and I'm like, why the fuck, why is this song, and why is a Prince song in this movie? It doesn't make any sense. And that's why I think Batman Returns is better.
Oh, Batman Returns is so much better.
I'm genuinely excited to watch it.
They let Danny Elfman just make it's so much more operatic, and they don't have to like try to fit in this ridiculous pop music that has nothing to do with the themes or the style of storytelling.
But that's the weird thing, because I think that in a weird way the Prince music does fit this movie, Batman specifically, because tonally it is all over the place. It's what I don't like in movies, is when it's tonally, like, in one scene Joker will be maniacal, and then another scene he's scary, and then in another scene he's goofy, and you're like, I think this intention is because he's crazy, but the craziness is so much better in the other Joker adaptations later, like The Dark Knight, and then Joker with Joaquin Phoenix,
and
like,
of course in Suicide Squad.
That dude, it's almost like Jared Leto is inspired by Jack Nicholson's character. So in a loose way,
I have to say, you can lump in Jack Nicholson's Joker with how everyone seems to view the original Batman, which again is amazing.
I would say that too.
But then you can also lump it in with how, and it sounds like you feel this way, but how I feel about it, where I'm watching it and I'm like, it's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's amazing. And then, like, same with the Joker, where I'm like, why is everyone like loving this? I mean, he does a fine job. It is Jack Nicholson. It's always fun to see Jack Nicholson with ridiculous makeup. And
it's bad makeup. It's really bad.
It is not great makeup either.
And he doesn't have the white face on so much of the movie. There's like 3 or 4 scenes where he just doesn't have the white face on.
Because he puts on like fake skin makeup to make himself look like a normal person, or at least more normal.
Why wouldn't I?
That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, but I think that's what this plastic surgeon made his face look like, right? Like, with the, I mean, he just has the big smile and the this thing.
Right. That's what the plastic surgeon did.
Yeah.
Like, because the way I interpret it is the bullet went through his cheeks, it fucked up some nerves in his face.
So he had to just connect the nerves to each other, so that's why his face makes that smile.
Right.
So it, like, healed, obviously.
Yeah, healed,
but
sort
he
of.
just looks like that. So when I think, like, they put makeup on Jack Nicholson to make him look like the character actually looks, right? Mm-hmm. You're not saying, like, the character himself puts on additional makeup to look more normal?
Well, what I'm saying is the Joker in the movie falls into a vat of acid. So his white face and, like, his red lips are his normal look at this point because he's been disfigured by that vat of acid. Couple that with the plastic surgeon who gives him a permanent smile. That's his normal look in the movie. So then when he meets gangsters, he always puts on like a skin cream to make himself look quote unquote more normal. He still has that permanent smile, but he has like a normal skin tone. And then that's illustrated further when he gets nervous and he wipes his forehead with like a cloth and there's a white mark left. It's because he wiped away the skin cream and revealed his real white skin beneath it.
That is, if that's true, this is, wow, that is so fucking dumb.
Oh, really? That's exactly what it is. I'm surprised that's not
that blew my mind. I thought the white stuff was him putting that on to like transition into being like putting the mask on. I thought that his skin was...
He seems a little ashamed of his appearance in the movie, and that's why he seems to put on the skin cream color, because he, even in his commercials, I feel like he has it. When he's like dancing around the supermarket.
Can we take a break?
Sure. Hey guys, listen to this great Anchor ad from Anchor. I mean, here's Anchor's Away.
I'm broken. I'm broken by that.
Why?
Because
it's fun. It's cute.
It's not. I think if that's what it is, it looks like the white paint that is his actual face looks so much like makeup.
Yeah, it makes it look worse in your opinion.
Right? It's so dumb. Like his face should just look fucked up and it's healed, but that's just how he looks. And then the behind the scenes thing is that they put that weird makeup on him and that's just what his actual face looks like. And then when he puts the white makeup on, then that's like his Joker outfit. That's what I always had thought this was. I didn't know his face was actually white and his lips were actually red. That is so dumb.
Why else would he fall into that vat of acid?
To make the scars look weird? I don't know. I mean, that is so dumb.
It's kind of interesting because the one thing I'll say about Jared Leto's Joker is that his bleached skin makeup is well done.
Yes.
Granted, this is 2016 makeup versus 1989, but in Batman Jack Nicholson, you can see at the hairline
where it hits the hairline,
where you can't get the makeup into his hair, so you can tell it is makeup.
So is his hair actually green, or is it?
See, that's an acid thing. I'm pretty sure, the acid completely disfigures him.
So is he wearing a wig later, and then takes the wig off, and then puts a wig on, and then takes the wig off?
Given the fact that he did the wiping thing on his forehead, revealing his true skin beneath, I would imagine he wears a wig to sell his appearance a little more. He seems to have an affinity for that type of thing. I mean, he gave that mask to his model girlfriend to make her look more normal. So there's a sort of thing there.
See, this is the kind of thing that I don't like about the movie.
Really? I see. Yeah. I like it because of that, because they're trying to. You've seen the image of who the Joker's makeup is based off of, right? It's an old silent movie, and I can't think of it off the top of my head. But if you see it, it looks like Jack Nicholson Joker. And back then, of course, they would always make up people super white because it photographed better, and so I like that as an homage because that's what they were trying to go for. And I actually think it looks good, just in a visual sense. It looks pretty solidly done. It
does, if it's how I originally thought it was. The fact that his skin is actually white, like it's a powder. He looks like a fucking... there's no way... wow. That's so bad. That actually makes me like this movie less. Knowing that that's the backstory of why his face is white.
It's cool because then it also matches in with that 30s and 40s style where it was so simple for a monster to be created by just falling into acid or whatever the fuck happening.
Then I was fine with him falling in acid and just becoming more crazy or more fucked up, or maybe his skin became bleached, but the white should I don't know. It's I'm stuttering so much because this is something that I believed for years, that it was the white was what the makeup he put on.
It does make it makes you wonder, I guess, why he felt the need to appear normal in front of his gangster friends when he was clearly the alpha male in the room.
Yeah,
he murdered one person for sure,
which was when he shook his hand and all that stuff. That was so corny to me. That was so the effects of it, they inflamed the footage or whatever and turned up the brightness and exposure.
Mm-hmm. And then they also added some animated heat rays, right?
Yes,
emanating from his neck, along his collar.
Yep, they did.
Yeah, it's so dumb. Well, see, that's again. I can't tell if this is either tonally inconsistent, like what you're talking about, or sort of a consistency where it's they're trying to make a comic book movie, the comic book movie is set in sort of 40s noir, but it's also a comic book movie, so they're going to put in goofy shit like that, but then they're going to also make it kind of violent, so the end result is a literal just fried skeleton that's pretty fucking gnarly.
Yeah, gruesome.
Looking. Yeah.
So it's just so weird. Like, it seems... I can't tell if Tim Burton is not as good as everyone says, or if it's the studio interference.
It's funny because he's not as good as everyone says.
That's what I'm thinking,
like,
man.
Obviously.
After watching Batman 1989, I don't think he's that good. I mean, I will eat my words if we watch Batman Returns, but I will, and I love it, which I'm sure I will. But I want to say this, and I think this is going to what you have been saying this whole time, is that if you're watching these in order, you can understand where Joel Schumacher was going because of what had come before. Yeah. Because I think watching 1989 Batman and then forgetting that there's another Michael Keaton movie and then seeing Batman Forever... that makes total sense.
It kind of does.
How fucked up is that?
It kind of does.
Because they're both tonally all over the place. Like, they're like, you know, you have a fucking out over the top dramatic you know, Two-Face, and then you also have like the serious moment of Dick Grayson's parents dying.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many moments of that, and also in Batman. It's crazy.
Yeah. Even like in Batman Forever, Bruce Wayne is going through some like
traumatic
traumatic stuff of his own, and they do highlight that throughout the movie for him to sort of grow his character. Like, that's his character arc. Mm-hmm.
It's really, and I think the reason that they did that was because Batman Returns was panned.
No, it was, people liked it, but it was just so dark. It was so dark.
I think they didn't like it as much as Batman.
No, it's much darker.
Yeah.
It's really crazy what they got away with, because
I'm excited.
I don't know what would even be comparable to like modern times. I kind of want to say, like, because it's not Nolan, it's not really. I don't even think it'd be a Snyder movie. Like,
and I think that's why this one has more studio interference, because if it is like, that seems like truly from the mind of Tim Burton, Batman Returns.
It is. That's what makes it so good, honestly. Because I will say this. So we just talked about how Tim Burton might not be that great. There are a couple reasons.
Well, I was going to say he has a vision. That's for sure.
And he does when he's given. When he was younger and he was hungry and he was given the opportunity to do what he wanted, it was great. And then he got to a certain point in his career, let's call it like 2005 or so, where he was older, he could do whatever he wanted, and he didn't have a vision anymore because he was, I mean, people lose sight of their creative goals, honestly, I think, the older they get.
Big
it's
Fish
not true
is
for everybody, but...
Yeah, Big Fish is his last good one, right?
I mean, that's pretty much like what people say, like, and it makes sense if you look at it. After that, he's doing like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Sweeney Todd was okay,
but it's all Johnny Depp.
It is all Johnny Depp. Like, Dark
weird.
Shadows, I thought was kind of bad. Like,
we saw that together. That was shit.
I know Dumbo was not well received.
Awful.
Alice in Wonderland, I thought was not great. What was the other one? Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I never saw that one. I never had a need to, though.
Yeah.
Peregrine, yeah. It's based off of a book.
Oh, boy.
But, yeah, like, I really feel like it was like Sleepy Hollow, Big Fish, and then after that it was just kind of like he reached the age of 40, and studios were giving him a bunch of money to do whatever, and he was just kind of like, I have a quirky vision. I'm Tim Burton. This is what people expect. Like, I will do this property with the way people expect it to be done.
I'll pull the Batman on them. This movie... There's another thing that I noticed, too, about... there's Lieutenant Eckhard. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
How about that awful ADR when he is introduced the first time? Yeah. And he's got the cigar in his mouth, and like all of his lines are said after the fact. So if you don't know what ADR means, it means additional dialogue recording, I think.
Wrong!
So
maybe I actually don't know what it stands for. That sounds like what it. I mean, that's exactly what it is. So.
So they do. So they record the words on set at the time or whatever, and then later they have to re-record the audio. So he has a cigar in his mouth, and they're re-recording that audio. But the re-recorded audio in the studio later does not sound like he has a cigar in his mouth. It's just like a deeper Knox. It's just. And it's like his mouth wouldn't be able to open that way, and it was just so distracting.
Christ, Knox.
Hello, Lieutenant Eckhart. I hear we just had us another bat attack. That's what, 8 sightings now in just under a month? I hear the commissioner's even opened a file. True?
Sorry, Knox. These two slipped on a banana peel.
Bat. I'm telling you, man. A giant bat. Keep moving.
Don't be writing this stuff in the newspaper, Knox. It'll ruin your already useless reputation.
Lieutenant, every punk in this town is scared stiff. You know what they say? They say he can't be killed. They say he drinks blood. They say...
I say you're full of shit, Knox. Oh, you can quote me on that.
And, I mean...
yeah,
wow.
It is.
It was bad. And then all the rest of the scenes, he talks, like, differently. Because it's not ADR'd. It's really dumb.
Mm-hmm. It's easily the best point in the movie when he gets murdered.
Yes. Yes.
I was happy not to have to look at him anymore either. He just was so scuzzy, skeezy, greasy. I was like, no, thank you, sir.
I agree with that.
Come on! Come on, Jack! Eckhart! Think about the future.
It was good to see Commissioner Gordon. I love that guy. I think he's so great.
It's so funny watching these movies now and knowing what will become of them, what will become of the characters in later movies and iterations of that universe, as well as having a better understanding of what happened in the comics. Like, I don't know a ton of the comics, but in Batman, these amazing side characters have nothing to do.
Nothing.
Alfred has nothing to do.
Nope.
Commissioner Gordon has nothing to do. They do things, but they don't do anything. Like, really,
they're not involved in the story. They're sidelined, and before the events of this movie, Commissioner Gordon didn't even know that there was a Batman. They were just denying that he existed, and then they see him for the first time in the acid factory. That's what I'm going to call it. The acid factory. And then he's like,
it's like a chemical plant that makes chemicals?
Dude, this movie is thin. It is so thin. I think that's a good word to describe it. It has a vision. This movie is all about creating the world of Batman, even though it wasn't trying to set itself up for a sequel, was it?
I mean, I think it probably was.
Yeah.
I mean, Warner Brothers, even at then, was always thinking like how to make more money.
Yeah, it's really strange how this movie is not that good. It's
weird. It's a first movie. It's a first comic book movie. They're trying to do something different. I think it's interesting because
they're trying to channel Superman but make him dark.
That's exactly what I was actually going to say.
But I think that movie works really well.
Superman does work, but it's also much more epic in
its
approach. And so it's so weird to see like a vision like Batman, where there is a vision there. But there's money there, but they're just not trying to do this crazy epic thing. They're trying to do like this singular sort of cat and mouse story between Joker and Batman.
Yeah.
Almost like an old-fashioned style, and it's just very disjointed.
And it really is. I mean, like, the thing that you brought up earlier with how it's like a crime noir, it really does feel that way, because the first scene that you see, I thought we're watching Bruce's parents get killed. I thought that's what was about to happen.
That's what I thought when I was a kid.
And then I hear Prince in the background, and I'm like, wait, what year is this? Is this the 80s? Because, I mean... And then the movie that's showing at the theater, I think that's the same movie that's showing later in the movie. When it shows his parents get killed, it's like Footlight or something like that.
Oh,
and I think the same movie's being showed, and it whatever. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It was maybe I missaw it, but
yeah, Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that's what we were about to watch, but it turns out it's just another crook that, you know...
I do think they were trying to set it up like that.
I think so, too.
But I do think it's kind of weird, too, like...
I just couldn't tell what year it was. That was my point.
It's hard to tell, because the buildings, like the sets and everything, literally 1940s.
Yep.
The cars, 1980s. The soundtrack, 1980s. The clothes, 1940s.
1940s, for sure.
Majority. So, it's... Oh man, it's weird. There was something I wanted to say, like when you were talking about how thin the plot is. Like Batman doesn't do anything really.
No,
he's in the scenes. He does like zero detective work. He
does
figures out the chemical thing.
Yes,
that Joker unleashes, and that's cool. But like, it doesn't really. It's kind of.
We don't see him. That's the thing. We don't see him doing
anything. That's why I don't get why people love Michael Keaton so much. Like, I love Michael Keaton. Who doesn't love Michael Keaton?
Yeah. He's
fine in the movie, but like nothing, he doesn't affect change in the movie, really.
No, he's not a driving force. He's along for the ride. This is definitely Joker's movie.
But even Joker, I'm like, what is his goal? Like, what? He's just trying to fucking destroy Gotham for... I forget why even. I'm talking about it now. Because he is trying to kill them all.
There's no reason to his madness, and if
he's crazy. Ooh.
Yeah, if you're looking at a movie like Halloween, the Michael Myers not having a reason to his madness, that makes a whole lot of sense because people do just go crazy and kill, and there's the fact that there's no reason is scarier. That's why I think that movie works more than Rob Zombie's Halloween, because Rob Zombie's Halloween goes into the whole thing and blah blah blah,
where he's a kid and he's in an abusive household.
Yes, and it's like, oh, that's why now
that's
it's
like
not
what
scary
serial killers
anymore.
are.
Yeah. But with Batman, there's no explanation as to why Joker is doing what he's doing. But this is a superhero film, so you need a reason why the villain, like, it's a James Bond thing too. Like, you need to have that explanation as to why the villain is doing what they're doing. You need that. There needs to be a motivation there. The motivation is like Batman dropped him in a vat and he wants to upset Batman, but you have to infer that. There's no, and I don't need like a come to Jesus moment where it's like, oh, this is why. It's just fucking give me some intel, give me some clues. That's another reason I think it's so thin.
It is interesting also, at the beginning of the movie, before he's Joker, his character is known as like kind of a crazy gangster.
Yes.
But you're not really sure what context that craziness is, or how that is formed or shown, or like what his style is.
It's not shown. We're told.
Yeah, and then when he falls in the acid, I feel like that is supposed to like snap him. Like it causes a psychological break, and that's why he's the Joker. Like, call me Joker. But I'm also like, so were you crazy the whole time then? Like, you were a little crazy and now you're crazier? Because there are also moments where he's just totally normal, like just a normal gangster with crazy makeup on.
You mean crazy face skin makeup?
Exactly. Crazy facial disfigurement, acid washed skin.
So dumb.
So long pigmentation.
I was going to say this too. I initially liked the idea of having the reporters have such a interesting subplot. I thought that was interesting of them like trying to solve the mystery and figure out who Batman is and this whole thing. And then nothing happens because Kim Basinger finds out that Bruce Wayne is Batman and she doesn't give up his identity, so it never goes anywhere.
Yeah.
Robert Wuhl is great.
I do like seeing him. That's fun.
But it goes nowhere. It's this movie set up so many threads and nothing paid off. Yeah. The only thing that paid off was that Joker died, even though Gordon wanted him alive in the beginning. So
I do like that little bit at the end where they pulled like the laughing.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even know what it is. It's like a laughing electronic box that just emits electronic laughter. Yeah.
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 I don't want to say it's shit because I know it set up everything.
I think it's just so interesting to watch because it did set up everything. It was kind of the first of its kind aside from Superman. They were trying to do new stuff. It was Tim Burton's first movie, and he did make a string of good movies. I mean, it was like Batman Returns, Ed Wood, Mars Attacks, Sleepy Hollow, Big Fish. I'm sure I'm forgetting one. And I mean, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Beetlejuice are fucking awesome.
Yeah, they are.
For a while, he was my favorite director. I remember growing up, I wanted to be someone who didn't say Steven Spielberg.
So you said Tim Burton.
Yeah. I mean, his movies are great. They are, up until you get to, like, the mid-2000s, and he's just like, Helena Bonham Carter, what do you want to do with me other than make babies?
It's real. I'm genuinely excited to watch Batman Returns now.
It's so much better. The thing about that one is, I think when you say the studio had too much control over Batman, for the sequel, I think they were like, you know what? We'll give you all the control you want. We'll pay you whatever you want because we want you back because we think you were a key to the success of the original. Do whatever you want. We love it. And he did whatever the fuck he wanted, for sure.
Do you think that is a hindrance to the film, or do you think that is
Batman Returns?
Good? Yeah.
It's amazing.
Okay.
It's Tim Burton at his most Tim Burton-y before he lost his grip on what it was that made his movie special. It's like perfection. I mean, it's lightning in a bottle for him.
Okay.
Easily his best movie, aside from like Ed Wood's probably his best actual like movie.
Yes, that
movie.
movie
But if you're looking
incredible.
for like, the Tim Burton movie to watch, Batman Returns. More so than Beetlejuice, more so than Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which also both very Tim Burton-y.
Man, so that's next episode. I'm excited about that.
Yeah,
Batman Returns.
for sure.
We'll talk about that.
It's going to be a good one. Last thing. Can I just do last thing? We talked about this a little bit earlier. We were talking about how apparently no one knows if Batman is real or not in this movie at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because he's like fully formed Batman.
Yeah.
Like he has his car, he has his suit. I don't know. Like Batman's ultimate goal at this point, I guess, is to hide in the shadows and beat up heroin addicts.
But it's not, because he said, "Tell your friends about me." And it's like,
so you want
to spread the word.
Okay. So it is. So he appeared fully formed, and then he's trying to spread the word now. That's what it sounds like.
It's like in the beginning of The Dark Knight, where like they're still trying to figure out who Batman is. They're like, they show that board and it's like possible Batman suspects: Abe Lincoln, Bigfoot, and fucking Jesus, whoever's on there. Right. And then like, you know, criminals are not. They're like, I don't want to go. It's spooky out tonight. There's no bat. Like, you remember that scene? It's like a montage of all this stuff.
Yeah.
That's what the beginning of this movie is like. But then you have people that are like discounting that there's no Batman, and it's like, you know, there is though. Like, you know, like, you should be not saying there isn't, just trying to figure out who it is. There's no effort to figure out who this is, because they're just, it's like today, where it's like, oh, there's no virus, and it's like, are you fucking insane? You should figure out why.
Realistic is what you're saying. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Wow, this is such a ridiculous story. Why the fuck wouldn't they be trying to figure this out? Oh, because no one, in real life, no one has any motivation or drive to do their jobs.
I guess. It is interesting, though. So did you notice what I was talking about? Like, his logo on his chest is different than what's on the thing?
I think, I mean, based off of my, like, just in my head visual knowledge, I'm assuming the one on his chest is kind of longer.
Yeah, it's longer, but then if you look at the bottom, there's like little points jutting out on both sides.
Oh.
It's like longer and then points jutting out. This is for the people on YouTube. But yeah, it's really strange how. Interesting. And then I think in Batman Returns, it's to the what was on the promotional material and the cover, and literally the end bat signal, and then also the beginning logo sequence. It's like you're zooming through and over and around this thing that becomes the bat symbol, which is different than what's on his chest. And you're like, how did you fuck this up?
Yeah. Also, interesting choice for credits. We're going to go through like a cement sewer of the bat logo.
It was so dark I had to change the setting on my TV. I didn't know what was happening.
The second one's way better. I can't even tell you. The second one, like, Batman has less, like, it's much more about the villains. So Batman kind of has less to do, even more so. Like, he's very much a side character almost. But it works, and there's more going on with him and with everyone, and it just looks so much better. It looks so much more like what you need a Batman movie to look like. It doesn't look as claustrophobic, and it's still dark.
Yeah.
But you can still see things.
It's like brightly dark. That's what I remember about Batman Returns, because
it's very blue.
Yes, blue, but there's snow, so it's white. It seems like a different Gotham than what we got in this one.
It's very, very different. It reminds it's like Cabinet of Dr. Caligari type stuff.
Perfect. Yeah. That's exactly what I think. I think that's what serves Batman. It's like, if you're gonna go Superman, it should be light and hopeful. I think hope is the message of Superman, and dark and dreary and angry and, but passionate. I think that is the message of Batman, and this movie just does not communicate that. It's trying to do dark with a Superman twist, and it does. It's like Man of Steel. Like, that's dark, brooding, happy Superman. It doesn't mix. It doesn't work. It's still good. I think Man of Steel is still a fine movie.
I think it's interesting to watch is my thing. Like, it's just so interesting to see this movie that they tried to do something different, and I don't think they hit everything.
It's like Superman Returns as well. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, that movie, dude. I just love movies. Yes, like, they're just so interesting to watch to me. I'm like, they almost got this. They're so close. This is cool. This is awful. Like, they spent the first 20 minutes on Krypton, which is like a version of Avatar. I guess I can see what they were trying to do there. It didn't really work that great, which makes the first 20 minutes kind of like, why did you even put it in the first place? But
so, what about before we go? Verdict on Michael Keaton off of this movie.
So again,
as Bruce Wayne and as Batman.
I mean, he was fine. I'm not sure what he was going for, and I don't think that's a bad thing, because like, he was kind of quirky, and Batman's a quirky character if you think about it. I mean, he's a pretty weird guy. And so he kind of nails the weirdness a little bit, but I guess it leaves me unfulfilled. I don't know why. Like, I like Michael Keaton. I don't think he does a bad job, but I don't know what was going on with him at the same time.
I am going to 100% agree with you. The scene where he's trying to tell Vicki Vale that he's Batman is the most cringe-inducing scene I've seen this year, and I watched Cuties. Dude, it is so uncomfortably painful, him trying to say this, because I'm like, you are a fucking billionaire playboy. You're supposed to be, like, of the people. You're able to communicate. Like, are you that hung up with how attractive she is and how you raped her? Like, she was drunk, and then they fucked. Did you remember that? I mean, like, Bruce Wayne totally raped Vicki Vale in this movie.
Because she's trapped all alone in this giant mansion in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. She's like, I can't believe I slept with you. I'm like, you fucked him?
Oh,
he fucked you.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, it was not good. But I mean, that's also like, is it his decision? Is it the studio's decision? They want to go in this direction? Is it Tim Burton's? Because I know
the whole movie though too.
Yes.
Everything about it is just kind of like, this is fine. I do like some parts. It's kind of weird. Other parts.
It's trying to find its footing, which is interesting because Superman the movie is much better than Superman 2, 3, and 4. It's like they fucking nailed it with Superman the movie.
Yeah, it's the exact opposite, sort of.
Yes.
Even though Superman 4 and Batman and Robin, both the fourth movies in the franchise, are weirdly similar in their atrocity to mankind.
Yes. I'm excited to get to that one, too.
But I will say this: when Batman talks to Catwoman in Batman Returns, nothing but chemistry, nothing but amazing dialogue and scenes.
That's what I remember. It's like she's his equal when it comes to like sexuality. That's the idea.
Yeah, and it's great.
And Joker is his equal in Menace, but I get literally none of that in this movie. Like, it's like I'm eating vanilla ice cream and someone told me it was chocolate. I'm like, I'm not getting it, though. There's no taste here for chocolate.
Right. It's not bad, though.
Yeah, you're like, it's still vanilla. I like vanilla, but it's like...
I like vanilla ice cream more. I don't really like chocolate ice cream, actually. So
you're
we should
crazy.
switch this metaphor.
No, I think it's a good metaphor.
It sucks because everyone's like, this is so vanilla. And I'm like, oh, that's great. I love vanilla. Does it have the little beans? Oh, it's so pure tasting.
That
sounds like a race joke.
It did.
I didn't mean for that.
Pure white hatred.
If you get a pure vanilla bean, it tastes like almost like you don't want to drink vanilla extract because that's disgusting. But if you put the right amount of vanilla extract in something, it makes it more vanilla-y. It gives it like more purity. That's what I meant. It's the same thing with cocoa beans and why dark chocolate technically tastes better because it has more of the actual cocoa bean in there.
Kev, we got what you were saying before you explained it.
Well, I don't want all the Nancys out there to be like, this fuck shit dick. That's essentially what they would do.
I have an Aunt Nancy, and she doesn't sound like that at all.
Oh, terrific. Well, I mean, we can't all be, as fortunate as you. So thanks for throwing that in my face.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
She's very sweet. She's anti-Trump, and so am I. So there's that.
So am I. So is my cat.
Good.
Yeah.
I have special features on the Batman. So I have the 2-disc special edition. Boop, 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 boop.
Nice. Love it.
So I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch some of the special features and see if I can get to the bottom of some stuff, and then next episode we'll talk about some of that, and then if there is any, and then Batman Returns. I'm so excited. Returns. I might actually watch that tonight.
If you wanted to, I would recommend it. It's one of those movies where I try to do this with every movie. I definitely get distracted by outside stuff, and I'd love to figure out how to stray from that type of behavior. But in the meantime, Batman Returns is the type of movie you watch, and you're just kind of glued to the screen. It's just
cool,
constantly this is actually pretty amazing. Holy shit!
See, that's what I remember. I remember liking Batman Returns more than Batman when I was younger, and at some point feeling gaslit because everyone's like, well, Batman's better, you're stupid, and Batman Returns isn't good. And I was like, I don't think that's true, though. And I still stand by that opinion after watching Batman today. I think Batman Returns is better.
That's what I don't get about contemporary reviews of Batman. People loved it.
Don't get it.
And it's like, is it because you had never seen something quite like this? And it's kind of nice to see that? Is that why everyone loves it so much? Because as we discussed, it's just middle of the road.
I think it's the thing where we're in 2020 looking back on a movie from 1989, and most people of that age had not seen a movie like that before, especially in the theater. Maybe they'd seen Superman somehow on a VHS that they got. If there were VHSs were out by 89, obviously.
They were. I don't know what
Betamax, Laserdiscs.
You never know.
You never know. So maybe most people had not seen it. So they had nothing to compare it to, right? So they were watching this, and they're like, this is amazing. Batman's finally... And it's all the comic book nerds, too, and all this stuff. And it's like... So now looking back on it, if you love it that much, I think it's from a point of nostalgia. Because I don't really have nostalgia for that movie.
I do a little bit. And I do like it. I mean, it's a movie that I would easily watch again and again.
Yeah, for sure. I'll watch
mostly
it again.
For those scenes where Joker's doing that. It's such a great gag where he's on the commercial and the dead models are going, "Love that Joker."
Not that Joker. Well, I would just watch old episodes of Conan O'Brien when he had someone he used to have a picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then someone would do the voice, but it would just be the lips moving.
Right, like that animated show in
Conan, you're stupid. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
that young Bruce Willis watches.
So, I think the takeaway is that. What do you give this? What do you give this movie?
Out of 4, I'd probably give it. I would go with 2.5.
I was just gonna say that it's middle of the road.
Probably 2.5.
Middle of the road for me.
Yep.
Sorry,
weird.
Alex Plotkowski.
Yeah, I don't know why everyone loves it so much. I think Batman Returns and Batman Forever are better, which is blasphemy to say Batman Forever is better. But I can't wait till you get to that one because that is amazing.
So for the record, you think that Batman Forever is better than Batman Returns? Or
no.
Okay, that's what I thought you were saying last week.
No, yeah. I will say this. I think personal-wise, it's possible Batman Forever might eke out a win over Batman Returns for me, but I do think in history,
general scope of 4 movies,
Batman Returns is definitely better. Me personally, they're probably neck and neck. I mean, I think they both have such completely different things to offer, but they're both so fun to watch.
I think Batman Returns for me will be better than Batman if it is able to balance those tones better.
It does, because it feels like a comic book movie. Like, you forgive it for those comic book moments because it's so consistent throughout the movie.
Okay. Well, so it'll be like Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, the first one, which I think balances comic book movie and origin story phenomenally.
Mm-hmm. I think so, maybe. I don't know, maybe even the second one. Maybe even Spider-Man 2.
Well, I don't think 2 is known as like more comic booky, is it? I think it's
pretty comic booky.
Well, of course it is because it's Sam Raimi. I mean, that's what he's going for. But I think
exactly.
one is a better example of being comic booky.
I can kind of see that. I guess it's just hard because it's not that. It's so dark, you know. So it's not quite. Like, there's an internal comic book logic to it all, but it's also it really reminds me of an opera. Like, that's what it reminds me of.
Which one were we talking?
Returns. Batman Returns.
Batman Returns. Oh, I'm not saying... I was saying Forever.
Oh!
Forever is comic booky.
That makes way more sense.
And I think Spider-Man...
Absolutely.
If it's along the Spider-Man route, because I think... Yeah. Like, the moment where Harry Osborn's gonna die, and then the glider's coming at him, and he just goes... Oops. And then it fucking...
just impales him in his penis.
Peter, don't tell Harry. He dies with his fucking forehead wrinkles up.
Yeah. Good movie, though.
That's another one that was on that acting coach looking at deaths.
Did he like it or not like it?
I think I referenced 3 of those today, because the Platoon one was on there, too.
Yeah, and 2 of them were with Willem Dafoe. Crazy.
Yeah. Is it snowing?
No.
Oh, it's leaves falling. They're just... Oh, Jesus. Boy. That was terrifying.
Come on. Jesus. Killing me over here.
All right, bud.
Cool. Well, this has been great. I can't wait to speak to you next week. And clap, and et cetera. And,
you know, like us on all this stuff. Whatever you're listening on right now, try and give us a like or a review, and we'll read it on the podcast. And then, thanks. Just share it with your friends and all that good stuff.
We might be 4 years late, but just keep listening.
And vote.